Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are spinning the globe and landing our pin right in the heart of Europe. But we are deliberately skipping the big names. We're not doing Krakow, we're not stopping in Warsaw. We're going somewhere that honestly feels like a massive contradiction wrapped in red brick.
It really is. I mean, travel guides love to call it the Manchester of Poland, but that comparison, it just barely scratches the surface.
Yeah.
We're talking about a place that went from this, 19th century industrial powerhouse to practically a ghost town. And now, in 2026, has somehow reinvented itself.
As a capital of what? Avant-garde art, film?
And some really experimental food.
Right. And before we get to the ostrich carters, we were definitely getting to, we have to talk about the name.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you see it on a map, it's spelled L-O-D-Z. I mean, my first instinct is Lodz.
And you'd get some very confused looks if you said that there.
Okay, so help me out.
You want to say Łódź?
Łódź?
Yeah, it rhymes with wood, and then just add a soft G sound. Łódź.
Okay, Łódź, got it. And here's the hook that, for me, just grabbed me right away in the research. The name literally means boat.
That's right.
But I'm looking at the geography.
Right.
There's no major river. There's no port. It's completely landlocked.
And that is the first mystery of the city. A place named Boat with absolutely no water.
So what's the theory?
Well, even local historians debate it. Some think it's from an old noble family name. Others just think the real origin is lost to time. But it kind of sets the perfect tone, doesn't it?
It does.
It's a city that's defined by what it isn't. It isn't a medieval court like Krakow. It's not a sleek capital like Warsaw.
Yeah.
It's gritty. It's red brick. It has a really defiant soul.
So that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to figure out how this landlocked boat managed to stay afloat and rebuild itself from, well, scrap.
Yeah.
I've dug through travel guides, architectural reviews, historical archives, and even some 2026 dining diaries to piece this all together.
It's a masterclass in urban reinvention.
Let's start with those bricks. You said Manchester of Poland. The timeline I saw, specifically 1870 to 1890, the growth was just explosive. It sounds like the Wild West, but with textile mills.
Explosive is exactly the right word. You have to remember the context. They called it the Promised Land.
Right.
You had these cotton kings, industrialists like Israel Poznański and Karol Scheibler, who built these huge empires almost overnight.
And at its peak, how many factories?
Around 1,000 factories operating in the city.
1,000. That number is just, it's hard to even visualize.
It is. And they weren't just building factories, they were building entire ecosystems. Which brings us to probably the most important example of adaptive reuse there, manufactura.
Now, calling manufactura a shopping mall feels, it feels wrong.
It's totally reductive. Yeah, you can buy a shirt there, but the sources all call it a city within a city.
And that was the original vision, right? Poznański's vision.
Exactly. It's a massive complex, all red brick, these beautiful archways. But the really interesting part is what happened in the 90s when the textile industry just collapsed.
It could have just been a ruin.
It was a ruin. They could have bulldozed it. But instead of erasing that history, they adapted it.
Yeah.
On a huge scale.
It's so different from how other cities do revitalization, That usually means tearing down the old to build something glass and steel.
Here, they just polished the old. I mean, you look at the layout now, sure, 300 shops and restaurants, but there's a beach.
A beach with a volleyball court in the summer.
And an ice rink in the winter.
And a zip line. You can actually zip line over the main plaza of a 19th century factory.
You can. It creates this kind of jarring but really kinetic energy.
But they haven't just erased the past. I read about the Museum of the Factory there.
Right, and this is crucial. They haven't whitewashed the history.
There was a review from a visitor who mentioned the sound in that museum. They actually turn on the old weaving looms.
They do, and the noise is just deafening. It's this visceral gut punch that reminds you, okay, we're sipping lattes here now, but this was a place of incredibly hard, loud, dangerous work.
It grounds the whole experience.
It does.
So manufactura is the loud, bustling center. But the sources also pointed to another project, Monopolis, which has a totally different vibe.
Monopolis is fascinating. It wasn't cotton. This was the old vodka monopoly plant.
A very important industry in that part of the world.
Absolutely. But the restoration here is much more refined, I guess. They dug down, created these sunken levels, integrated lots of greenery. It feels less like a public square and more like a high-end cultural hub.
With a vodka museum, of course.
Of course.
But the one that felt like a real social experiment was Sijumun, Priest's Mill.
Ah, yes. This was Carol Scheibler's kingdom. And I mean kingdom. Right. He built a completely self-sufficient community.
The ultimate company town.
Totally. If you worked for him, you lived in his houses, your kids went to his school, you went to his hospital, even the fire station was his.
Sounds a little paternalistic.
Oh, very. It was a kind of golden cage. But what's amazing is that today, it hasn't been turned into a museum. People still live in those original worker houses.
Wow.
But now, right next door to someone hanging their laundry, you'll have a hip cafe like Fata Morgana.
That juxtaposition is so cinematic.
Which is fitting because Odoo is basically the Hollywood of Poland.
Let's pivot to that. I kept seeing the terrible pun, Hollywood.
It is terrible, but it's true.
So why here? Why did this gritty factory town become the center of Polish cinema?
It all goes back to the National Film School they established there after the war. This is the alma mater of legends. We're talking Roman Polanski, Andrzej Wajda.
And I saw a surprising name in the research, David Lynch.
David Lynch, the Twin Peaks guy. He fell in love with this city.
Why?
He loves the industrial bleakness. He shot parts of his film Inland Empire here and famously said the gray winter light in Odoo is beautiful.
That sounds exactly like something David Lynch would say.
Right. He sees the beauty in the decay. And that energy has physically changed the city, especially with a project called EC1.
The City of Culture.
Yeah.
This was a power plant.
A former power plant. And if Manufactura is about commerce, EC1 is all about the mind. They kept the massive industrial pipes and towers, but inside it's a huge science center, a planetarium.
And I read you can climb one of the cooling towers.
You can. It's a 40-meter climb, gives you a whole panorama of the city. But the really forward-thinking part is the Center for Comics and Interactive Narrative.
So video games.
Video games, graphic novels, it's smart. They're positioning themselves not just as curators of old film, but as pioneers of new media.
But the art isn't just in the museums. The travel blogs all say the streets themselves are just quirky.
Quirky is a good word for it. I mean, the street art is everywhere. There was a famous animation studio here, Semaphore, so you have these murals and little statues of cartoon characters all over the city.
Like a fairy tale trail.
Exactly. But there are two installations that I think capture the city's whole personality.
You have to be talking about the unicorn.
I am 100% talking about the unicorn.
Okay, you have to explain the unicorn stable. The pictures are wild.
So there's this big central tram station with a huge multicolored kind of stained glass roof.
Okay.
And the locals, with their famously dry wit, just started calling it the Unicorn Stable.
And the city officials didn't hate that.
No, they loved it. They totally leaned into the joke.
Wait, what do you mean?
They commissioned a statue of a unicorn to stand right next to the station.
No way.
Yes. It shows a city that just doesn't take itself too seriously. It embraces absurdity.
I love that.
Yeah.
But then on the complete other end of the emotional spectrum, you have the Rose Passage. This sounds hauntingly beautiful.
This is where you see the city's deep, deep soul. It's a courtyard where the walls of the buildings are covered in millions of tiny shards of broken mirrors.
Arranged into the shape of roses.
Yes. The artist, Joanna Roczkowska, created it because her daughter, Rose, was diagnosed with eye cancer retinoblastoma, and she lost her sight in one eye. So the artist used these fractured mirrors to symbolize her daughter's broken vision, but also the idea of piecing something shattered back together into something beautiful.